What would you do if your 7-year-old risked their safety just to make you smile? I used to think I'd seen the lowest points of my life, until my 7-year-old son taught me what love really looks like. My name's Claire, and for the past 3 years, it's just been me and my little boy, Noah. His dad walked out the moment I told him I was pregnant, said he wasn't ready to be a father. I was terrified, broke, and completely alone. Since then, life's been a constant uphill battle. I work as a waitress at a small diner off the highway. Minimum wage, long hours, and aching feet. Most nights, I come home so exhausted I fall asleep on the couch still wearing my apron. But every morning, Noah would still smile at me like I was his whole world. That's what kept me going. We live in a tiny apartment above a laundromat. The walls are thin, the floor creaks, and some nights the heat barely works. But to Noah, it's our castle. He even drew a sign for our door that said "Home Sweet Home," written in his messy little handwriting. Last month, my birthday came around. I didn't tell anyone. When you're struggling to keep the lights on, birthdays stop being special. They just become another reminder of how far behind you are. That morning, I left for work before sunrise. Noah was still asleep, hugging his stuffed rabbit. I kissed his forehead and whispered, "Be good for Mrs. Green next door, okay?" She's an older woman who watches him while I'm at work. The day dragged. The diner was short-staffed, and I spent 10 straight hours serving truckers and families celebrating their happy occasions. Anniversaries, birthdays, dates. While my own birthday passed like it didn't exist. By the time I got home, my body ached and my mind was foggy. But when I opened the door, I froze. There, standing in the middle of our cramped living room, was Noah, holding a tiny bunch of flowers. They were a little wilted, wrapped in old newspaper, but he was beaming like he'd just won a prize. "Happy birthday, Mommy," he said, running up to me. I couldn't even speak. "Sweetheart, how did you get these?" He hesitated for a second, then proudly said, "I bought them." My heart sank. "Bought them?" "Noah, we don't have money for—" He interrupted, smiling. "I found some, behind the grocery store. There were cans and bottles in the trash, so I picked them up and traded them for money at the machine. Then I bought these from the flower man." I felt the world stop. My little boy had been digging through garbage just to buy me flowers. Tears started falling before I could stop them. I knelt down and hugged him so tight he squeaked. "Baby, you didn't have to do that. You're the best gift I could ever have." He giggled and said, "But Mommy, I wanted to make you happy. You're always tired. Now you can smile." I cried harder, because he was right. I was always tired. Always trying to hold our tiny world together while pretending it didn't hurt. Later that night, after he fell asleep, I sat at our small kitchen table staring at those flowers. Some petals were already falling off, but to me, they were more beautiful than any bouquet I'd ever seen. I took a picture of them and posted it on Facebook with the caption, "My son bought me flowers with money he made collecting cans." I've never been prouder or sadder in my life. I didn't expect anything from it, but the next morning my phone was blowing up. Thousands of people had shared it. Messages poured in. Strangers offering help, donations, jobs, even toys for Noah. Someone from the local news reached out asking to do a story. By that weekend, people were showing up at the diner just to meet me. They left envelopes with cash, grocery cards, and notes saying, "You're doing great, Mom." I couldn't stop crying, not because of the money, but because for the first time, I felt seen. A week later, the grocery store manager, the one whose dumpster Noah had gone through, called me in. I was terrified we'd get in trouble, but instead he smiled and said, "You raised a good boy. We'd like to offer you a full-time job here with benefits." I nearly collapsed. That night, I came home, hugged Noah, and said, "Guess what, sweetheart? We're getting a better home." He looked up confused. "Because of the flowers?" I smiled through tears. "Because of your heart." Months later, we moved into a small 2-bedroom house with a tiny yard. On our first night there, Noah picked a dandelion from the grass and handed it to me. "Another flower for you, Mommy." I keep it pressed in a book to this day, because that one, like the first, reminded me that love doesn't need money or gifts or big houses. Sometimes it's found in the smallest, dirtiest places, like a little boy's hands after digging through trash to make his mom smile. And every time I look at those dried petals, I whisper the same thing. "You saved me, Noah. You really did."